Hello, Leo, and welcome into your reading for the first half of September. Today we'll be taking a look at career and jobs, love and relationships, and then life path and mission. So one of the new things, I got a new deck with crystals, so we'll just pull one real quick as a crystal that the universe or divine is encouraging you to work with over the first half of the month. And let's see what comes up for you. Aqua Aura Quartz. So this one is Feminine Legacy, and this is about grounding, stress release, and integration. So using Aqua Aura Quartz, or in general just using quartz if that's what you have. So we'll go ahead and pull a couple of cards just to get an overall feel for the reading, and then we'll dive into the specific areas that we were talking about. One of the things that is coming up here in the first half of the month, on the 14th, we have a new moon in Virgo. So usually that would be about new projects, new routines, things like that. But we do have Mercury going direct the very next day. And so that's kind of giving this air of focusing on things that you can do quickly. So maybe focusing on things that have kind of stalled out recently, but kind of that sense of completion, of crossing some things off of your to-do list. So as I mentioned, Mercury will be going direct on the 15th, and that's because it is retrograde right now, and it's been there for the last, few days or so, almost a week. And remember, that affects your communication, technology, travel. I feel like it kind of affects people's timing, just kind of gives you that sense of being half a bubble off. So let's take a look at what overall energy is coming through on the read today. So 5 of Feathers in reverse, and feathers are swords. So that's 5 of Swords in reverse, High Priestess in reverse, and then your 2 of Cups in reverse. So that sort of energy here is, this is about uncertainty and kind of maybe some secrets there. And with your 5 of Swords in reverse, that's about like resolution and compromise. So maybe there are some secrets, but you're working on compromising there. And then your 2 of Cups in reverse is like division and rejection and solitude. So these two, when we read from, I guess, kind of bottom to top, is there's solitude, there's some uncertainty, and then you're working on trying to figure out what that compromise is. So we'll see where exactly that ends up showing up in your reading in terms of what aspects of your life that might be talking about. So over the next couple of weeks, something that's going to be, I think, really important, and I was saying this for all of the signs, is working on your meditation and grounding. There is a lot of really heavy, really kind of weird energy going on right now. We have so many planets in retrograde. So Venus, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Mercury, Uranus, and early in September, Venus does go direct on the 3rd. And so you'll kind of feel your energy slowly returning there. But on the 4th, Jupiter goes retrograde. And so that's about kind of slower or fewer opportunities. But that does give you, it's a lot of energy of growth and expansion. So we do still have a lot of those other energies out there. So we'll see how those may be factoring in to the first half of the month for you, Leo. And let's see. So this is for your job and career. In the recent past, we have the Hanged Man. You're currently sitting in King of Pentacles energy. And the next level of energy is that Temperance in reverse. So you were sitting in this state of kind of like self-reflection and readjustment and, almost like this sense of sacrifice, but you are, that also is an energy of seeing things from a different perspective. So, hanging upside down and looking at it totally differently. You're trying to look at how do you improve the situation? How do you maybe change something, rebirth yourself? And so that was the energy that you've been in. And then now you're moving into more of this secure, prosperous King of Pentacles type of energy. But the next level of energy coming in is like this imbalance and kind of some maybe like excess or recklessness or avoidance or ignorance. So even though right now you're sitting kind of, you're reliable and you're secure and prosperous, it's almost like that's being pushed a little bit too far. So, so that's something to be aware of, is that it kind of looks like it got pushed too far. And that is as it pertains to careers. So as we look at it, you know, being in that excess type of energy and, you know, call it recklessness and avoidance, that's not where you want to be from a job perspective. So we'll draw some oracle cards here in a little bit and see if maybe that gives a little bit more clarification in terms of what it is that you can do about that. You know, the nice thing is nothing is set in stone. So even though this might be the energy that's coming in, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that that is absolutely what the outcome is going to be. So just like it's how do you work with the energy knowing that that is on the horizons. So that's something we'll dig into. So this is in terms of relationships. In the recent past, we have the Five of Swords in reverse, currently in the Knight of Wands in reverse, with the next level energy being Judgment in the reverse. So, you know, and actually this is that same as your overall energy, you know, because the feathers is the sword. So you have the Five of Swords in reverse here. So you've been in a position of compromise and like resolution and reconciliation. And that's where you have been. And then that's kind of pushed you into this like fearless, confident type of nature. So you were able to get to a compromise. So you're kind of, you're sitting tall about that, okay, we weathered it, which, you know, with Venus being in retrograde right now, that's putting a lot of focus on relationships. It does have kind of that sense of make it or break it type of energy for a lot of relationships. So it looks like you fared well through that, you know, you compromised and now you're sitting in this position of, you know, confidence and fearlessness. Like, yes, our relationship is sitting in this really good place. But the next level of energy, it does have this sense of, you know, kind of doubt or failing to learn from your past experience. So you found a way to compromise, but maybe you didn't learn what you needed to, you know, something obviously back here, whatever it was, triggered you to be in a position where you needed to compromise on something. But the, you know, the looping part of it is, okay, so you figured out how to compromise, but how do you stop this, whatever this was, from repeating itself again? So, you know, take the opportunity to learn from that and not just say, oh, good, yeah, you know, we made it through that, we compromised, here's what we came to. You know, make sure that you're learning the underlying lesson there. So it's been a good chance to put some focus on there, on that situation. So definitely make sure that you're stepping up and looking at that. All right, now let's take a look at life path and mission and see what is coming through for you there. All right, in the recent past, we've got the Sun in reverse, Ten of Cups in reverse is the current energy, with the likely outcome or kind of next level of energy being your Nine of Cups. So I feel like the Sun in reverse has been coming up a fair amount in the last few days as I've been doing these readings. So this is, you know, kind of this sense of pessimism, you know, and kind of issues with your inner child. So, you know, maybe as you've been looking at what is your life path, you're kind of like, I don't even know. I'm really not even sure what my life path is right now. And so that's kind of where you have been. And then you're now in this issue of maybe having some troubles at home or some separation or, you know, kind of family issues as you're trying to find yourself. Or, you know, if you've been thinking about like, oh, I don't really know what my mission is, you know, maybe you tried something and it didn't work out and it's causing some friction or tension at home. But the next level that's coming in is you do have this contentment and achievement. So you are able to turn this upside or turn this back around to get to that good kind of balanced place. And so that's probably some of this compromise that's coming through and, is coming through to push you into that good place where you understand what your life path is. So in terms of it looks like maybe the area that might need the most focus maybe is on the job and career side for you, since you kind of are in this like avoidance, like imbalance, and you don't necessarily know where things are going in the future job wise. So that might be an area to give a little bit more thought. Right now, Saturn is still in retrograde through early November, and that's about how do you attain your goals? Where should you be putting your energy? And so it looks like maybe that's part of where you should be putting your energy is making sure that you're looking at your job from different perspectives, and if this is kind of the energy that's on the horizons, keeping this from playing out, because you are right now currently sitting in this reliable, prosperous type of energy. So try to keep that part going. One of the other ones that's in retrograde is Neptune, and that's about kind of confronting illusions. And then Pluto's also in retrograde, and that's about like power struggles and kind of challenging some of your toxic behaviors, because Pluto's the great destroyer. So making sure that you maintain your good, like high vibration energy. All right, let's see what is coming up with it with your Gaia cards. Purification, water, emotional cleansing, and rejuvenation. So, so it almost seems like, maybe here with this judgment in reverse coming up, that, you got to a position of compromise, and you worked through whatever that issue was, but this Knight of Wands in reverse, with it being some of this, actually, I'm sorry, earlier when I was talking about it being like this sense of confidence, that's when it's right side up. In reverse, the Knight of Wands energy is actually more about like anger and arrogance. So I think whatever this compromise was, it's led you to a feeling of, kind of being maybe angry about the fact that you had to compromise. And so, and that flows better in terms of making sense, that then that puts you in a position where you failed to learn from the past because you compromised, but you felt like you were forced into the compromise. So some of that is you need that emotional cleansing to kind of get that part back on track. So let's see your Moon card. Your hard work is paying off. So I would say this kind of goes down here, because you are turning this part around, where you're turning some of this conflict into, I guess, a happier outcome. And, in your relationships, if you are kind of in this, I'll call it angry position that you had to compromise, that's feeding in here that, you feel like there's some family feuds and some trouble at home because you compromised on something that maybe you didn't really want to compromise on to begin with. And, and so that's kind of that uncertainty feeling. And, here with that division and rejection, that you felt like you were forced into compromising on something that you kind of didn't want to. All right, so let's take a look here. This is a nice reminder that things are not as bad as they seem. So even though you're feeling that, I'll call it that agitation, that anger, whatever that is about having to compromise, things aren't as bad as they seem. So I think it's just probably in the moment right now feeling that way. But let's take a look and see, because usually this is kind of like, what is the energy, since it's a reading for the first half of September. Let's see what it looks like more in, call it a 3 to 6 month time frame for your relationship line. Let's pull out a couple of cards. So you have the Five of Cups and the Empress in reverse. So your Five of Cups has some like grief and sadness and loss associated with it. And then the Empress in reverse is kind of feeling unappreciated and maybe issues with dependency. So it looks like this could still be kind of a tough a tough road ahead. So I think with the things aren't as bad as they seem, I'm going to say that's probably more so related on the job front and your life path, because it looks like there is some challenge that's still coming through on the relationship side of things. So definitely nothing like no major decisions, even though there's some tough energy coming up, like no major moves need to be made while Venus is still in retrograde. So I would definitely encourage you to journal if you're having issues or you're having thoughts of, I want to make this change or I want to do this. Journal for now, for the next couple of weeks, and then see once Venus moves out of, or once it moves direct, see if some of that energy changes. See if some of your thoughts are shifting there. So, and with Mercury in retrograde right now, that's affecting communication. And so it could be that you're just not really seeing eye to eye. So it's best to let some of this energy settle a little before making any big moves or big changes. So that would be my advice, is really work on journaling for the next couple of weeks and see if things are still feeling that way once these retrogrades are over. So once Venus is direct, once Mercury is direct, I think things will not be as bad as they seem. So journaling will help you get those emotions out and feel like they're being recognized without having huge impacts on your life. Just kind of let yourself be in that little bit of that holding pattern. So I hope this reading has been helpful for you today. And if this is something that you feel somebody else might be able to benefit from, I would welcome you to share it with them. I will be doing some like a twin flame reading. I did do a Is This Your Person reading that posted the other day as well. So check those out if those are things of interest to you. And otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.